yourself in, but they are ruthless, hungry and in power again.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Henry Kissinger Is Pokemon Going to Die Not a Threat?
Just a fact.
Just a fact.
I am your host for tonight, Patrick, aka 1000 Patricks.
I am Lauren, and tonight I am Hit or Marks. Thank you, Kyler.
And joining us tonight for the first of what is hopefully many, many times is Alex Leafcrunch.
Hi, I'm Alex Leafcrunch, aka your tax dollars at work.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. And
yeah, do you have something else?
no, I'm just saying and to segue.
Oh,
Okay, yeah, and also joining us is Roy Fuckwarlock.
it's me, Roy Fuckwarlock of the show, aka Google incognito search Ted Cruz huge stubble.
Great.
Yeah.
So, as you might have seen by now, Alex and Roy are going to be our two newest hosts here on HKIP. They're good friends of ours, and it's really cool to have them on board. And we hope that you will like them as much as we do.
Happy to be here.
Yeah, me too. I hope I like me as much as y'all apparently do.
I'm excited, personally.
Yay.
I love podcast. And
Yeah.
new friends.
So, y'all gamers hear about the news?
Y'all hear
No.
news?
So, I mean, the big one, the one that I personally really did appreciate this week, is that George Homework Bush is officially dead.
I'm a big fan of this piece of news, honestly.
It's good news. He was a bad person, and now he's not anymore.
No more opportunities to be a piece of shit person.
This is true.
Say what you will about him as a person, but now he isn't anymore.
Damn.
Yeah.
Remember when
Gotta
he
hand it to him.
threw up on the Japanese prime minister?
Hey, wait, can I do an eearly shout out to his dog?
Sure. Yeah.
Please
What's his
do.
dog's name? I saw it.
Mission accomplished.
No, it's not. So, I don't know if people who are not in the United States know this, but whenever presidents die, it's a day of mourning for the whole country. And people who work at the Postal Service get the day off work, which is why on Wednesday, we didn't get any mail. And nobody remembered this because the last president to die was Ronald Reagan. And we didn't have Twitter then, so a lot of people were like, where the fuck is the mail? Is this Trump's bullshit? But nah, it's just like a thing that we have to lower all of the flags and be sad for a Wednesday because, one
they have to
really
print out-
old man died.
They have to print out brand new postage stamps with the flag halfway down.
Yep. It takes all night.
Yeah, exactly. They're tired. That's why.
Yeah.
Everyone has to spend
so-
a designated hour saluting.
Yeah. Also,
Go
go ahead.
ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say because he died right at the very end of not November. But I was really excited personally because we found out about it on December 1st, which is World AIDS Day. And I'm literally standing all day of my life because that shitty bastard went to hell the same day that we commemorate all of the people who live and have suffered and died from HIV and complications due to HIV. So, yeah, eat shit.
Yeah.
Homework.
Yeah. Yeah, of course, in the aftermath, we saw all of the regular hand-wringing from, centrists about, he was a good guy. We shouldn't mock him on the day of his death. And it's like, fuck him. He was a monster for his entire life, and it's objectively good that he's
Literally,
no longer
he's a
alive.
rich oil guy who became the president and is he and Reagan kicked off us being in the Middle East forever.
Yeah.
Fuck him. He's not Trump, so therefore, he's good actually, but
The thing is that he's not Trump, and so he's good.
Yeah, that's the thing. He also gave us the good painting man of George W. Bush, George regular work Bush, who we all know and love, and definitely didn't survive through and spend all of our high school years hating and all of that.
Yeah,
business.
so it's impossible to say whether things are good or bad.
yeah.
Yeah, who
We'll
can
never
really
know.
tell?
Exactly. How is Jeb handling this, do we all think?
I don't know. He's probably. I don't know if the man is capable of like emotions other than just like defeat at this point.
Exclamation mark is the...
He's wearing his special boots from his mom, so I'm sure he's feeling fine.
His story is what?
Mom boot Goofin, yeah. That's good. Good for him. I wonder what he
boot
thinks
Martha.
about, like, leftists making him into like a meme. Like, do you think his staff has to be like, sir, the socialists, they made you into a meme where you won the entire United States, but it's like a piss yellow color? How do you feel about that?
I think he knows, but like the entirety of his reaction is just.
I think if anything, he appreciates the attention.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Good for him.
Good for him.
Well, goodbye, George Homework
Rest in
Bush.
peace.
Rest in piss. We're
Good
all
riddance, you
headed
old
out
bitch.
into the new gender-neutral restroom that is opening up in Arlington Cemetery.
As always happens, whenever one of these ghouls die, Henry Kissinger started trending on Twitter again, because everyone's just holding their breath, waiting for it. One of these days, it's coming. I promise.
Thing
And
about him
then-
is that he is Pokemon going to die,
He
Is
is.
Pokemon going to die?
and it's not a threat, but
Nope,
it is a
just-
fact.
Just a fact.
Just,
Ken,
it's
okay,
factual and
so
true.
I've been in the HKIP Discord all day, and I don't know why it didn't strike me until just now, but I just remembered that I had a dream about our good friend Henry Kissinger, that was basically about him being the like creative catalyst for Steven Universe.
Okay.
And it was like a big problematic thing that what's her face? Rebecca Sugar was like friends with him.
Oh my god. First Pearl hates the Irish, and now this.
Steven invades Vietnam.
Oh god, Henry Kissinger is Steven universally condemned.
Hire more fusion war criminals.
I don't know.
That's so good.
I don't know how much of it, like, is this anything this is, but I found out this summer that I'm, like, 4 degrees removed from Henry Kissinger.
Oh my
Oh,
goodness.
Because
my God.
my ex-stepdad's aunt's friend's husband was him.
Holy shit.
Or is him, sorry. I mean, he still is.
Is a
He
him.
still is.
Sorry to give you hope
spite
that he
of
died in
everything.
the last 5 seconds.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean,
I do
whenever we
apologize.
record, I do always have that fear that he will shuffle
Oh, it
off
is
the
gonna
coil,
happen.
and we'll have not known about it until we're done recording.
Well, no, there's no way we wouldn't know. Somebody in the Discord would tell us. It'd be like 10 minutes of a regular episode and then just 55 minutes of continuous screaming.
Yeah, I
good
just got
audio.
a text from my ex-great aunt that her friend's husband died. I'd like to
resigned.
apologize to all the listeners for any chance that I might have had when I was 5 years old to give her some sort of secret ring that I told her to give her friend, and then that friend might have given to her husband, and that was full of poison. So I'm sorry that I didn't do that.
Well,
Damn.
woulda, coulda, shoulda.
I'm just as bad as Steven.
Oh man. So do we want to talk about Tumblr real quick?
Yeah, let's get that one out of the way.
So, the bastard creation of David Karp, who has been kind of just sort of limping along for the past couple of years, it made an announcement that starting on December 17th, female presenting nipples and photographs of basically adult content that is like beyond nudity. It's illustrations or photos of people fucking is not allowed anymore because the App Store kicked them off kicked off the app. Not because it was a bad app, because it is that, but also because there were apparently reports of, like, really terrible images on Tumblr. But now it's like, well, what is even the point of Tumblr? Everything is just going to be flagged as nudity and inappropriate content.
So the way they're doing that flagging is with, like, with an algorithmic bot that is programmed in some esoteric way to look for content that is identified as adult, but instead what it's doing is flagging like every third image on the entire website, regardless of what's actually in the picture.
Yeah, it's like I want to believe that it's like an insidious algorithm, but it's just so bad that it's I can't help but laugh.
Yeah,
it's totally incompetence.
It's not stupid, it's not evil. It's just stupid.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
Which is pretty much their motto at this point. Tumblr, not evil.
Yeah.
Just stupid.
Like, this...
But also,
go ahead.
Yeah, so also, like, as part of this, they've entirely cleared out and blocked, like, any quote-unquote not safe for work tags, but the Nazism tag, white supremacy tag, etc., are all totally still accessible. So, cool website you have there, Tumblr.
Good and cool.
How's your website? Yeah.
Pretty good, it doesn't seem.
Like... And so people are like, okay, well, now we're going to have to leave and go somewhere else. And Tumblr is very bad and the code is very bad, but I think I will miss it if it actually does die for only, like, because of like, nothing like it exists anymore, because I think you made a post, Alex, that, like, microblogging is, like, it was never going to be viable to make any money. So it was just weird bullshit most of the time. And I appreciate that.
So if we want to go, like, a bit more into the history of, like, how we got here, not just from the, like... Well, first of all, like, the thing that happened this week is that Apple said no, horny, because apparently Steve Jobs, before he died, was like, I do hereby declare that there's never been a horny me and never shall I horny be.
Right, exactly. He did say that.
Steve Jobs reappeared and said, I'm sorry, but my ghost can't stop cranking my hog, so I need to be able to rest in peace.
And that ghost was the No Notes ghost.
Yeah.
Exactly. This whole time.
But yeah, like, in the past couple years since Tumblr was bought by Yahoo, and Yahoo said, oh yeah, we're gonna, like, monetize this, and they even said, hey, users, we're gonna, like, make a way for you to monetize your own content on here, which they never followed up with.
Of course.
And it turns out that's because there's no way to monetize microblogging, where a post could be something informative or something entertaining or something like the wisdom tooth post.
But yeah, for the most part, it's just like, because the only thing people, like, Tumblr was really good for was, like, oh, it made good posts that the internet would steal and, like, put on BuzzFeed. So, like, it was influential in that sense, but at the same time, it was never, like, it could never become Twitter. So, I gotta download all of my favorite posts from the past and cross-stitch them.
Also, like, related to this story is that in the last couple days as well, Facebook has been implementing a similar policy, except it's much stricter. Like, you already couldn't post nudity on Facebook, but now they're banning things like even mentioning sexual orientation, which is like absurdly bad. Yeah, and it's partially in response to these guidelines set forth by Apple, but also in response to sort of like new guidelines kind of implemented with the SESTA and FOSTA acts, which we've talked about on this show. It was passed a couple months ago, which make it much harder for sex workers to operate, like, safely and privately online, but also like kind of inadvertently or advertently, depending on who you ask, target a lot of, like, LGBT folks who just, like, are just trying to live and talk about their experience of being alive, but the society determines that it's, like, inappropriate.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Oh, so Facebook's policies regarding that have nothing to do with the covert right-wing subterfuge they were working on a few months ago.
Oh, no, it's an entirely separate evil.
No, nothing about that.
Well, that wasn't Facebook. That was Facebook with an umlaut.
It was fashion.
That was The Facebook.
Yeah,
That was the one that Mark didn't do. That was that
Right.
one.
Yeah. I think also just one more thing to note about this Tumblr thing is that sort of while people are panicking, they're all sort of recommending new or old but just unused microblogging sites like Pillafort and Soup.io and Mastodon, etc. Without kind of like looking into what the sites actually are. Like Mastodon and Soup.io, or not Mastodon, like Pillafort and Soup.io are both .io URLs, and you can't host adult content on .io domains. So like,
Which
you
it
can't
seemed
do it.
like
So moving-
Pillafort.io only realized after they started advertising themselves as a place to go after Tumblr.
Whoops.
Right, exactly. Yeah, and Pillafort's business model is also like that. Like,
Yeah, it's
I
not
don't-
great.
I don't want to get into the weeds on it, but it's like entirely subscription based, and like there's no way that that's ever going to be sustainable for the type of audience they're looking to attract.
Yeah.
The internet's good.
The internet is good.
like
I
it.
think there was just a study about like Craigslist setting up like a specific platform for sex workers to use and use safely, and they did a study, and it turns out it actually made their jobs safer.
Wow,
Ooh, what a thunk.
Who'd have thunk it?
Who would have thunk it?
Damn, dude.
Yeah.
It's almost as if sex work needs to be protected and not criminalized.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think about it?
So
Sounds to me.
let's skip across the Atlantic real quick
Here we go.
and turn our eye to the wonderful world of France.
Hold on, I have to hop into my Concord.
Okay, here we go.
Vroom. That's a sound planes make.
I'm just
So-
swimming.
Now we're here. We're here in Paris. Beau Paris.
Bonjour, everyone.
Bonjour.
Yeah, so over the last couple weeks, there have been sort of increasingly, I don't want to say violent, but increasingly active protests all over the country in response to a number of very bad neoliberal policies of Emmanuel Macron's, but most recently and sort of most impactfully, I suppose, in reaction to like a new fuel tax that was just like untenable for French people who are not making a lot of money. And I'm kind of dancing around this because my French is very bad and I don't want to say the
Yeah,
name
so
of this
it's-
group. Can somebody
It's
else do
Gilets
it?
jaunes, which means yellow vests
Yellow
or
vests.
yellow jackets.
Right, because that's sort of how they're identifying themselves, is with these big yellow bright safety vests.
Right. And so these are these they're like bright safety jackets, and they're basically something I think that you legally have to have in a car in France or in a vehicle. Kind of like a life preserver on a boat, which actually that sounds like a good idea. We should probably have those. But like it's
Weird.
so it's
Yeah,
a
why don't we have- yeah.
pretty good like I don't want to say populist in like the bad way, but like everyone has one of these, and like it's very clear that when you are wearing it, you're talking about the problems with the transportation system. So it's like a pretty good symbolism. It's poetry. It rhymes.
It is. Yeah, basically, I think a lot of, and it sounds like a lot of like students and different unions, including like ambulance workers, have like joined up in it. And I'm just reading from like Al Jazeera, and it's like where they're protesting like the taxes that were supposed to go up and like raise the price of gas mainly, but it was also like electric costs were also going to go up, and people are calling for Macron to resign because he is trying to
I
put
think
the burden of France being a economic and environmentally sustainable country on the poor, and that's not good.
Yeah, and I think it's really interesting to look at like the demographics of who's actually like in the
exactly.
streets
Yeah.
protesting, because it's not like, unlike a lot of protests tend to be, it's not just young people. Like there are French people of all ages out there. Anyway,
You were making a really good point about
Yeah.
the country being
About
good.
So
a broad political ideal or
right, you're kind of
appeal.
the thing about this like protest is you're seeing people from like every sort of everywhere in the political spectrum. Like if you want to look at it in the quadrant view, you're seeing all four corners kind of represented among the people here. And while obviously at least two of those corners are bad, I won't want to get into leftist infighting just yet. It's very interesting to see like everyone in the country united by their desire to see the guy who sucks get out of office.
Yeah. Sounds great.
Like it's a resounding rejection of Macron's brand of neoliberalism, which is exactly the same thing that you see with Trudeau in Canada and with every Democrat in the States.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so it's I mean, this is very America centric of me, but it's weird to see it kind of popping off somewhere that isn't here first. And I understand that that's a stupid thought, but
well, it also
interesting.
It makes sense because France has much more of a history of people popping things off.
Yeah, that's true. Popping very specific things off of specific
other things.
Popping the biggest
building
God,
entire
I wish that were me.
contraptions for the popping of things.
I will say I think I saw an earlier tweet that Trump was trying to say that they were chanting his name in the streets, and that was a lie.
Yeah,
the lie detector determined that was a lie. So I don't think I think I'm with like a citations needed kind of point of view of like populism isn't necessarily a bad thing, but boy, do I really hope that like more leftism happens after these die down. And
in case you didn't know, this is like a very pro-leftism podcast. I'm not
is
sure
it?
if y'all knew that. Yeah.
Awkward.
Oh, I gotta leave then. My mom said,
Yeah.
I can't
I mean, I
record
know
anymore.
you guys were like centrist Dems. And
Roy, we need to start our own podcast called
Henry Kissinger might die.
Henry Kissinger is fine, actually.
Henry Kissinger might die, but I hope not.
Henry Kissinger's fine by me.
Henry Kissinger is Pokemon going to die, but then I'll be sad about it.
Yeah. Henry Kissinger is Pokemon going to die, and I'm going to write a very sad think piece about it.
Did you guys know he has the Nobel Peace Prize?
Sorry, who?
He what?
1971 Nobel Peace Prize winner Henry Kissinger. Not a joke.
That's the time he deserves it. That's the year. That's the year.
Yeah.
1971.
Yeah,
Sure.
Yeah. He did nothing bad that year, I'm sure.
I mean, I wasn't there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, that's true.
None of us were
there, unfortunately.
We can't say
so we
for
can't
certain.
say for sure.
Even me, the official grandma of the show now.
Grandma of the show, Roy.
Official grandma.
Oh man, officially. So while we're over here in Europe,
Oh yeah. Let's hop across the pond, but the smaller one this time.
how's it going, Theresa May, with the Brexit?
I think that Theresa.
The Brexit.
I think that Theresa may be committed to the clock tower.
One can hope.
I get it. That's like apparently that's, a thing that Parliament can do when they find a government in contempt of Parliament.
It was posted in the Discord as a meme, but apparently a not very often used, but still very... What is that sound?
I'm sorry, that's the radiator kicking on, because it's
my God.
30 degrees here.
We should probably just pause for a second until it's done.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, so a British Parliament found in contempt can be committed to the clock tower at the Palace of Westminster, which I just think is neat.
It would be fitting, I think.
I'd like it. Might be cool.
Yeah,
to see.
so just some background because we didn't really get into it. Theresa May over this last week, I don't remember exactly which day, was held in contempt of Parliament for her incredible continuation of clusterfucking Brexit deals. Because the deal she negotiated, nobody likes for opposite reasons, but it's a bad deal for sure for the British people, not for Europe. They kind of really got her on that one, which of course they did. That's how economics works, is they make much more things than one shitty island does. Sorry, Alex.
Hey, it's fine.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, so she her government essentially was like, Parliament told them to release some aspect, like legal documents about how the deal was going, and she did not do that. So they held her in contempt. And apparently the last time they like arrested somebody for that was in the 1800s. So I think it's about time that the Tories, see what's going on
Embrace traditional
in there.
values.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just see what happens. What's going on in there? It's a big clock.
It's a big clock. What if when they put her up there, her like duty is that she has to make the noise whenever it hits the hour, and she has to make a big loud bing bong noise?
7 bong.
Yeah, just a big
Theresa
bong
May's
noise,
first bong.
like a funny bong noise.
Like a funny... she would be the bong culprit then.
Title relinquished. My wife of the...
What an interesting line of succession. It went from wife of the show Fallon to British Prime Minister Theresa May.
I mean, that's how it works. I mean, read the documents.
She's a better bong culprit than I am.
Yeah, she's the bong culprit now.
So Theresa May, retire bitch.
Bye, bitch.
Yeah, she's bad, and I mean, it's genuinely miraculous that she's managed to kind of like hold on to power this long. I firmly believe that come the next election or like power transfer, it won't be her, because not even her own party likes her anymore, because she's bad.
Yeah.
Incompetent, really, is the big one. Like, her party doesn't actually have an issue with her policy. It's that she's horrifically incompetent, and very publicly so.
Yep.
I could have sworn they hated her from the start, but I don't know. I don't live over there, and I'm also stupid as hell, so...
Well, we all are, except for other Alex, who lives there and is smart.
Yeah.
I'm sure we can get a submit to the record if Theresa May does in fact suck or not, and I feel like Alex would say yes to that.
Probably.
Probably.
Oh, wonderful.
If I were a
So
betting
do we
man...
want to hop on over back to the North America to mention
Yeah, one sec, just
now?
let me get in my plane again.
Okay.
Vroom.
Yeah.
Oh,
Sorry. I'll wait.
your plane has been I was gonna say de-landed. That's not a word.
It just bounced. I tried to land and it just bounced right off.
Yeah.
It's
I mean, it
skipped 3
happens.
times.
And headed into Wisconsin because the lame duck Republicans in Wisconsin, namely Governor Scott Walker, who sucks, they put forth legislation that is trying to basically make it harder to vote. So in Milwaukee and like bigger cities in Wisconsin, like you could do 6 weeks of early voting, and this legislation wants it to be 2 weeks of early voting, which sucks. And then trying to basically keep the incumbent governor and I believe the incumbent attorney general, who were both Democrats, and just kind of like, hey, Wisconsin kind of flipped blue in their state house, and the Republicans are kind of doing everything they can to screw Wisconsin over.
It's just like
Thanks.
a naked power grab with like no pretense behind it.
Yeah, and then this stuff going on in North Carolina too, like the intense reports of like tampering with the elections, and like it's just
Great.
kind of like they're not even pretending to hide it at this point.
Yeah. Here's the thing. If the only way you can win elections is to just be very clear that you're cheating at elections, I think maybe you should reconsider your
And you
electoral
might be
strategy.
a Republican.
You might be. My goodness.
That was my... So I'm going to implement a one insulting American accent per episode rule for myself.
Okay.
That was the one.
I appreciate that. I feel like we've probably had a lot of like kind of bad sounding Canadian accents, so I feel like if you wanted to sprinkle some more in there in any given episode, I feel like that's a quality.
It's equality, yeah. It's equality.
one of this country's primary exports is bad Canadian accents that are also insulting, so I can't blame you.
The thing is that they're not insulting, they're just bewildering, because none of them make any sense.
Okay, yeah, good point. Got me there.
I think
we're just confused.
Host of the show Linus was saying a few days ago that like the Minnesota accent that people associate with Canada is like, it's not just like the wrong accent, it's specific to the Scandinavian heritage of Minnesota.
Yeah.
So, which makes sense because like those long vowels are like Scandinavian languages, which are not the same thing as like the round vowels in Canadian English.
That's so interesting.
Linguistics.
Speaking of our Canada friends, Alex, you had a story to bring to us here.
I do have a story about the Great White North, and I have to try really hard not to like dox my friends who are directly involved in this. But as I talk about it, it's going to be hard to do that because you can just search the articles and their names are there. But so basically, to go back all the way to January of this year, the Canada Post, which, like the American mail service, is actually not a branch of government, but a corporation that operates with the government. Its contract expired, and they have a pretty good, by all accounts, union, the CUPW, Canadian Union of Postal Workers, I assume that stands for, who did not let them re-up their contract with the shitty terms they had, because it turns out that, according to, I'm not sure who, but like a bunch of different like labor watchdogs and the postal worker union themselves, that the postal workers in Canada have one of the highest injury rates of any like federally regulated service or like field of work. Like one figure said that there are currently 30,000 injured postal workers who, under the current contract or the expired contract, would have inadequate coverage because Canadian healthcare is nationalized but not like universal.
Okay.
Which that's a whole thing that I barely understand. But basically, they haven't had a contract since January, and so in the past 6 weeks, I think, they have been starting so in the past 6 weeks, they have initiated a series of rotating strikes, which basically means that like some are not working while others are, and that's to try to prove a point while also trying not to inconvenience citizens who need mail, which obviously isn't quite how effective strikes work.
Right.
Yeah.
And so, despite the fact that the reported the reported rate of mail like slowing was far more, like it was over exaggerated, the Trudeau government, the great guys that we love and are good to us, they put through back to work legislation of a kind which has been found unconstitutional before.
Huh.
And they're
Thanks,
just like,
Daddy Trudeau.
yeah, thanks for the liberalism. I love it. So basically for the past week and a half or so, there have been solidarity strikes occurring at distribution and sorting centers in at least 4 cities, including Ottawa and Halifax. And I actually just moved in the past few months back to Ottawa from Halifax. And in Halifax, I became a member of the IWW, which...
Rad.
Yeah. There's a lot to talk about the IWW being technically illegal in Canada.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, so the people who were protesting had to we're very brave, basically. My friends who are protesting were very brave to be openly protesting under an IWW banner in front of a post office or a postal distribution center. And so in Halifax on Sunday night, there was a protest with about 20 people present. And a couple hours in, the police were called to disperse them. And they ordered them to get off the road and go to the sidewalk, which defeats the purpose of the protest.
Right.
But they were like, oh no, peaceful protests have to be held across the street or on the sidewalk from the place that you're protesting.
Oh, right, of course.
Yeah, that's how it works. That's how you inconvenience business.
When I plan out my protests, I always consult the police first.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so my friends, my really awful friends who weren't very smart, they failed to do that. And 6 people were arrested.
Wow.
Cool.
They were held overnight, and luckily they weren't criminally charged. They were charged with, civil misdemeanor, I think. Basically, they were charged with mischief.
Right.
Which, I don't know if that's a...
Yeah, we do have criminal mischief here.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Yeah, that's a kind of a fun thing.
It is really fun to say.
It's fun to say and awful to have. But yeah, so my friends are okay, but they they have to go to court, and they can't go within 100 meters of a post office except to get mail.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow.
So on Wednesday, 3 more people in Ottawa were arrested for trespassing, and the firefighters as well as police were called to disperse that protest. But in some good news, to finish this story up, the firefighters told the police, we're not going to cross that picket line, and then they drove away waving, which is fantastic.
That's radical.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah,
Welcome to the resistance, firemen.
exactly. Welcome. Firemen are awesome.
Firemen go on
Firefighters
Chapo.
are awesome.
That is what we've been saying, is that there need to be more firemen on Chapo. And yeah, definitely in the Discord, keep us posted as to
Yeah.
if any of your friends are hey, we're not technically charged with anything other than mischief, but court fees or anything like that, definitely share and let us know what's going on.
Oh
with
yeah,
that.
so luckily the Canadian the Canadian IWW has already helped them out with that.
Awesome.
That is very good.
So-
I'm glad
so-
that is true, and that it's not here where everything has to kind of have that GoFundMe insurance on top of it. But yeah, definitely
there is
still,
that too, but yeah.
definitely still keep us posted, what's
Yeah,
going on, because that's really interesting.
Yeah.
I will. So thanks
Yeah.
for listening.
Thank you. And I believe, Roy, you also had news from your neck of the woods that you wanted to bring to us here.
Hell yeah, I do. For context, let me introduce everybody to the state of Virginia, aka the Commonwealth of Virginia. It fucking sucks usually. I've lived here my entire life, and I've kind of gone from if you had lived here in the mid 2000s, and been of a not conservative mindset, you would have no faith in this state whatsoever. You would just think it's going to keep getting worse, and nothing's ever going to change. But in the past few years, I'm not going to say it's gotten better, but it's gotten less bad. Which is same diff, but not quite. It's more tolerable, I guess. But one of the things that happened not too long ago is that medical marijuana is the legality of it is getting expanded. So that's super cool. And we are getting, my area is getting our first dispensary on Wednesday next week. And that's hell yeah, dude. It's
pretty cool.
And that's in Portsmouth, which I live in Virginia Beach. which is fucking huge. So Portsmouth is about 20 minutes away from where I live, but like on another side of the city, it can take you over an hour to get there. But it's there. It's in the same region. So that's pretty cool. I'm looking forward to it. It'll be good. I can't get it, but I have no reason to. But there are people who do, and like I said, like back in 2005, 2006, when I was in high school during Bush, because I'm old, I never would have thought we would ever come around to this. So it's just cool. Sometimes it's cool to spend over a decade as a conscious, observer of policy.
Yeah.
God, I wish that were me.
Yeah.
Eventually,
I love good news.
Yeah.
I love medical marijuana being allowed in places.
Yeah.
Hot take.
Dare I say it?
Hot box?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
No more medical bong culprits.
If they put marijuana in a can, you call it a can of bliss. That's the other one I got.
Oh
yeah, I get it. I
Okay.
like it.
Okay, I like that.
It took us all a minute.
Yeah.
And that's a sign that it's really good.
For whatever reason, like my immediate thought was like, is that a Yu-Gi-Oh reference? And then I remembered, oh yeah, no, that's the wrong person.
Pot of bliss as well.
Well, yeah, too. Yeah,
Pot of bliss.
yeah.
Exactly.
Also true.
I love it.
Yeah,
That's wonderful.
All right.
it's good.
Does anybody have shout-outs? Shout out.
We do have one that I know Matt wanted us to talk about, but I don't know enough about to talk about.
Yeah.
I feel like I should know more about this as the Canadian on the podcast.
I'm like vaguely
Designated
aware.
Canadian.
But, I mean, so basically, I think this is... Hold on, let me double check the numbers. I think it's the 20th anniversary. The 19th anniversary of, I think maybe the worst mass shooting on Canadian soil, which was in December 6th, 1989, when 25-year-old, I'm not going to say his fucking name because he can rot in the ground.
A guy who, a 25-year-old who named
Bastard.
Suck Shit Bastard the Fourth. Yeah. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah, so he, in Montreal, he went to a school, entered a room, I believe it was, I don't know if the school was like, if it was an all-women's school, but he shot 28 women, I believe, and killed 14 of them.
Yeah.
I think it's the École Polytechnique. I think it was one of the like really the earliest like. I don't think it was an all women's school, but I think it was like there was like a majority of women in the program for the first time, like studying. I'm assuming like I think engineering, and yeah, it was basically like direct anti-feminist violence. So. This isn't new, unfortunately, in our
exactly,
culture.
And so, it brings to mind like other shootings that have happened in the past few years, and it's really awful to think that this has been happening for 2 decades, and that it's not just a localized American problem. Like, it is a lot rarer other places, but like Canadians, we need to fucking hold ourselves accountable for this. And like, I'm not Quebecois, but there's a very powerfully conservative / regressive Quebec political streak happening right now, which is really scary to think about after 20 years after this. And so we need to like make sure this doesn't happen again, because 14 women being killed by a guy who didn't want women to be in engineering schools is horrific.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And wait, you said this happened in 89, right?
Yeah.
That's 30 years then.
Oh, fuck. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, that's even fucking worse. Like,
Okay.
Jesus. Yeah.
So, sorry, we kind of ended the news on a rough
fun
notes
note.
week, gamers. So, as we've mentioned in, I think, at least the last episode, maybe the one before that, we're kind of moving towards phasing out questions from the show, and we're going to kind of group them into our mailbags unless they're especially germane to whatever happened this week. And this week we do have one that's not really news related, but is HKIP related. So this comes into us from Tumblr user Interstellar Princess, aka Summer, who says, "I would like to hear one fun fact about each of the lovely new hosts."
Aw.
Okay.
So yeah, go ahead.
I have a lot of fun facts about, like, me, but I don't know which one to go with. I had a webcomic that I did for just under 10 years, and I stopped doing it because it was causing me a lot of stress and making me want to die. But yeah, that was a big part of my life that I don't really talk about a whole lot anymore, for reasons.
Wow.
But yeah, fun fact about me.
And that
Understandable,
comic
but very
is
impressive.
Yeah.
called Home.
It was called Homestuck.
Never say to me the words.
Well, I guess I can jump off that and talk about my fun fact, which is that I have a podcast about Homestuck, which I haven't recorded an episode for in a year and a half, but it's still going,
And
technically.
can I say it's good? I like
Thanks.
Hamsteak a
That's
lot.
good.
Hopefully I'm going to get back in the old podcasting saddle here and go through that wild
Ride the
adventure we call
audio horse.
Homestuck.
To freedom.
Oh yeah.
I will say thank you shout out to the Hamsteak podcast for getting me to read up to Act 5, and then I was like, all right, this is interesting.
Nice.
But I did read up to Act 5 of Homestuck, and then there were a lot of trolls, and I got confused. But it's a good podcast, and if you want to know what the hell's going on with that whole situation, recommended.
Yeah, hamsteakpodcast.tumblr.com. Yeah. Unless it gets flagged and removed in the next 11 days.
Yeah.
Yeah, and as always, you can, if you have more questions, you can send them to us on Tumblr or Twitter, but probably don't do that one, or our Gmail account. And, you know, if they're especially relevant, we'll talk about them the week of, but if they're not, then we'll get to them at a mailbag. You have our guarantee, unless it's shitty, and then we won't.
Yep. And we are, you know, the acronym, and we are that absolutely everywhere.
We're that everywhere.
Good.
So, hey, check out this really smooth segue into Lightbringer. I have a Lightbringer.
Please tell me.
It's a song this week, which I don't think I've done before. And it's a little unreleased gem by an indie artist you probably haven't heard of, by the name of Selena Gomez.
Who?
The song is called Sad Serenade. It was written for her 2013 album Stars Dance, but didn't actually make the cut. And then so it was taken off the album, but eventually leaked. And I think Hollywood Records like sold the stems to Bruno Mars's production people or something for like a remix of one of his songs.
Wow.
But it's good. It's a dance pop like banger. You can't really find it on YouTube because like the content ID system takes it down. But if you just Google Selena Gomez Sad Serenade SoundCloud, you can find it on SoundCloud. It's really good. Please go listen.
She should have called it a sad Selenade.
Yeah, she should have.
Nice.
You're right.
That's why it wasn't on the
Selena
album.
Hive. I have several small. I have three small Lightbringers. One of them being the very good post that Alex Leafcrunch made this week. Oh man, I just looked. It's like 15,000 Tumblr notes, and it's a good post. And it's just a breakdown of the things, you know, like different sayings, and what would happen if you combined, you know, Chekhov's gun and Wayne's World, or Occam's razor and Frankenstein's monster. And Man, is it good. Actually, Pavlov was the dog is a really good one for Frankenstein's dog. Second small thing is host of the show, Sam, is going to be at my house tomorrow morning. And I like that because he's my boyfriend and I'm excited to see him. So the second one is love and the concept of it. And I think the third tiny thing, like small light bringer that's making me happy is Smash is also in the mail and it's coming to me tomorrow.
Yeah.
Gamers?
Y'all game?
Gamers?
Does anybody hear game?
Anybody
I
hear
gotta
game?
say, I might have gamed once or twice.
Are you game?
Yeah, cool. Well, I think we all know which of those is the most important to Lauren.
Yeah, I'm sure
That
you can
actually,
tell.
I wasn't gonna bring that up, but like since you did, I'd say my Lightbringer is the fact that Tor.com was inspired by that post and made their own version with not 7 but 10 different sayings, and made a matrix of all of them. So, for instance, they have Frankenstein's cat, which is that actually Frankenstein is the cat. They have Asimov's monster, which is a robot may not injure a human because all robots are doctors. And they have Alien's first law of robotics, which is that in space robots will make you scream.
That's wonderful.
And that was really touching that something I made inspired someone else to be creative and I think kind of do a better job than I did because I actually threw mine together in 10 minutes.
It's
It's a really good post. I got a lot of joy out of seeing it.
big fan of it.
Yeah, online is good sometimes. Thank you for your
Sometimes.
gift.
Yeah.
I think my Lightbringer is going to be. So I didn't get to play tonight because of reasons, but I run a D&D game for my best friend Colin and my fiance Fallon, where they each play 2 characters. And my Lightbringer this week is their characters because I love them and they're good, and they're fucking idiots, but I love them. So that's it's good to be able to get together once a week and to boss some elves around. I like to do it. So yeah,
All right.
yeah,
D&D is a great Lightbringer,
it
and
really is.
yeah.
Yeah. So
Love the game.
Love the game.
that's going to do it for us here this week. Thank you all for joining us. As always, thank you to the Taxpayers for the use of our song Evil Men off of their album Cold Hearted Town. If you want to find us anywhere, you can do that under the acronym HKIPGTD. That's how we are named on everywhere: Tumblr, Twitter, Facebook, Gmail, our subreddit, and our Patreon. And also a link to our Discord, which is really fun and cool, is on all of those places.
Thank you, Reddit user Bisexual Punch Party.
Yes,
Yes.
For setting up our subreddit and allowing us to be mods. So if you want to help us and support the show, you can donate to us on Patreon, and we have a couple different rewards tiers for that. So at $1 a month, you get access to all of our bonus content, such as audio and written Lightbringers and outtakes from the show. If you donate $5 a month, you get a special role in our Discord and a shout out in the show, which I'll get to in a second. And at $10 a month, you get all of that stuff. Plus, you get to listen in live while we are recording, like 4 people are doing right now. Nope, sorry, one of those is Craig. Like 3 people are doing right now.
Nobody
Craig
is
gives us
listening
money.
more than Craig, I would argue.
So without further ado, thank you to Actual Socialist Elon Musk, HE Double Hockey Sticks, Alex Schaub, Ashinu, Benjamin Kingston Faria, Bryant, Kadeho Jones, Crit the Books, David Boser, Destry Hawk, Dejanes, Ellen, the Anarcho-Lalandist, Evan, Florian Siegel, Fully Automated Luxury Gay Space Hellcat, Garfield Hentai, that's a new one, Hank Hill's hentai hankering, Harry Tomlinson, John McCain, Funeral City, 350 million dead, Leafcrunch, hey, that's you.
Hey, that's me.
Low, Michael Weems, Mogu the Panda, Mr. Big the Cat, Nick Clarkson, Non-Binary with Left Beef, Oingo Zuma, Kuaboingo, Ollie Anders, Pataz, Pregnant Seinfeld, PR the Disaster, Scout Shiro, Single Payer Sonic Craig, Six Armed Sweater, Sophie, Stephanie Roof, Summergeist, and the Tallest Jew. Thank you very much. It means a lot to us.
It really does. And we love hearing your names every single week.
Thank you so much to everyone on that list.
I love hearing the name Pregnant
Yes.
Seinfeld in real time.
They're very
Thank
good.
you for
to
the
say
money,
and hear.
Alex.
Thank you for the money.
So as always, I have been Patrick. I will continue to be Patrick. You can go follow me pretty much anywhere under the username PG1497.
I am Lauren, and you can find me on Tumblr at RunTheGems, and you can find me on Twitter at LLeBlanc_, and that's all that I do.
I'm Alex Leafcrunch. You can find me there, not Alex Leafcrunch, but just leafcrunch.tumblr.com. I don't plan on leaving Tumblr anytime soon, even if it falls apart around me. And you can find me on Twitter at CrunchLeaf, because Leafcrunch was taken.
Ridiculous. I am Roy Fuckwarlock. You can find me at Fuckwarlock on basically everything. Everything that's important to me. I don't really use Tumblr a whole lot anymore, but that's where I have info about my art and stuff. So yeah.
All right. So once again, thank you all for joining us. I'm sure I'm forgetting something, but oh well, the show's over. Memento Pokemori.
Memento
Pokemori.
Pokemori.
Some awesome sauce while I'm glued to my screen.
Tumbling down Tumblr, there's so much to see.
I just installed Missing E.
Tumbling down Tumblr, there's so many cats. Look, this one's wearing a hat. I can't believe Obama's tumbling. Ugh, lame, it's so mainstream.
Ponies, memes, and Doctor Who.
There's sparkles on my theme.
OMG.
G-Boy. I ship these two OTP.
Look, a talking puppet.